Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Epic Flail. Before we get into the show, I just want to thank everyone that helped us get a Guinness World Record. We just did the shortest stream ever on tabletop gaming. So thanks everyone that tuned into the last stream. We will be in the Guinness World Book of Records. For those of you that are just joining us now, welcome to Epic Flail. Luke and I are going to be discussing some interesting tabletop stories, some wargaming tabletop stories. We're going to be talking about more Daka. Now, Luke and I have some interesting views on more Daka, but is this the first time that tournament 40k players cried so hard and moaned so much that Games Workshop instantly changed the entire detachment to keep them happy? Luke and I have got some controversial opinions on that, so we're going to be discussing that. We're going to be also talking about everybody's favourite crap game, Age of Sigmar, and whether Old World is truly ripping it apart. Like, Games Workshop have put all this money into Age of Sigmar. It's a shiny game, you'll see it in every Games Workshop, but it appears to be getting completely dumped on by Old World, and Old World's bringing all these releases out that people are getting very excited around, and we're just not hearing any chat about Age of Sigmar. So should we put Age of Sigmar in the bin and get excited about Old World, or does anybody play Age of Sigmar? And we're going to be talking about Warmachine. I've heard of this game. We mentioned it on the stream a couple of times, Luke. We kind of mentioned Warmachine before. I've done a few videos on Warmachine over the years. People might have seen. They've made a lot of noise at Adepticon. There's a lot of exciting stuff that they've said about Adepticon, but are they going to deliver it? Like, it's fine saying exciting stuff. I say exciting stuff to Georgia every day, and at the end of the day, she's not very excited by most of the things I've said through the day. So we're going to chat about Warmachine and if they're going to be able to deliver on those plans. We've gone for a different vibe and a different setup. I'm on the couch. Luke is producing. We'll pass over to Luke to say hi, who is now the Guinness Book World Record holder for the shortest ever stream. Everybody, congratulations, Luke, mate. That was quite something.
Yep, happy to help. Yeah.
Really quite something. Genuinely less than a second.
That's it. That's not... Oh dear!
It's not easy, mate. It's not. Do you know what? It's not easy doing streams that quick. We've basically done probably the longest. I reckon, right? This is no word of a lie. I reckon Epic Flail this year alone has done the longest wargaming stream and the shortest, because one of those UKTC events we streamed was something like 12, 13 hours.
Yeah,
and that last one was a second. Luke, we just did a second long stream, Luke.
With me at the helm, anything is possible.
Absolute mentalist. So let's talk about Daka. Oh, by the way, guys, we're going for the unfiltered vibe.
Yeah.
Those of you that haven't watched us for the past few weeks, I don't know where you've been. I've been in here streaming. Luke's been in control. Maybe we just done a bunch of 1 second streams, but I've been here every week. I don't know where you guys have been, but thanks for joining us. So let's first of all talk about Daka. So I'm just going to say what I'm thinking, Luke. I genuinely find 40k like a difficult game to take seriously sometimes, because it's just this paradox of Games Workshop Games Workshop have more money than our entire fishing industry, right? Literally, Games Workshop is like one of the most powerful... Games Workshop could change the world, right? Games Workshop could change the force of the UK. And they've got the best universe. They've got the history, they've got the lore, they've got the universe, they've got the production teams, they've got the models, they've got the fan base, they've got the players. And then they'll just do stuff where I think, are you morons? How can you get this so wrong? How can you have all the money? How can you basically have more money than most of our industries in the UK? Have the most loyal, passionate, spectrumed audience base that will just buy whatever they possibly release and still make mistakes like this. So Luke, bring you in on this chat a little bit with more Daka, because my perception of more Daka is they made a completely ridiculous rule set that should never have been on the table, and then for a series of events that have been played over the past month, it could be chance that all the best players suddenly ran to play this detachment at every major tournament in the world, or it could be a mere coincidence. It could just be a coincidence. I'm happy to put it down to coincidence, Luke, that people just fancied playing orcs at that weekend. But no part of playing any of those games looked to be a great deal of fun, and I can't understand how Games Workshop got this through a production. I don't understand how anybody wrote these rules, Luke.
No, it was it's intense, and I reflect on when we were at Southampton, and people were almost trying to do everything they could to not take more Dakka, but then they want to give themselves the best chance to win, you know, which is totally fair. It's a competitive event, you know, that's absolutely fine. Not begrudging people's desire to win, but yeah, a couple of people I was talking to were just sort of, I've tried other things, but I will just lose to this. So I'm just not. I have to just kind of have to do the thing. And
It looked fairly miserable for a lot of people. As someone who's played Orcs for a long time, Luke, you seem to think that it wasn't actually completely ridiculous compared to other things that have been out. Yeah. My perception of it was that they've dropped an absolute bomb here with more Dakka.
So obviously it's good. Was good. It's a bit less good now.
Yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned it, but it has obviously been nerfed today. They've changed it today. We'll look at it. Given
the old triple nerf.
It's got what we like to call a triple tick, a triple tickle.
Yeah. And I'm a big believer in giving things a chance to adapt and just sort of play out. This is got to be the quickest reaction and fixing of something, which is good that they're being responsive, not a slight.
Yeah, it is good to be responsive, yeah, but it's also bad that they've, even in a situation where you have to be responsive. Either way, I guess you could debate the semantics of like, is this the most broken thing that Games Workshop have ever done? You could compare it to like all the other numerous faux pas that the company has made when it comes to rules releases. And let's be honest, we're talking about a company that has had to make erratas before books have even come out.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, do you know codexes are like 50 quid now?
What?
Google Games
I've stopped
Workshop.
buying them now. I just with the app. I just
Mental,
don't.
absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, not to just completely slag off Games Workshop, but I find it puzzling that they can consistently get in these situations. It's probably not the worst. 'Cause I think the Votan book
definitely not the worst.
I think the Votan book got errated before it came out, which is interesting. That you'd write a book, send it to the print lines, produce it, and then go, by the way, that book that's turning up in a few days, we've made some mistakes. We need to change it. There was something interesting that happened with more Dakka, though, in particular, and that is, I don't know if we can name names, Luke, but I'm going to do it anyway. We're going to do it anyway. Glasshammer.
In your brain.
Glasshammer. They banned it. So many players at UKTC Southampton took more Dakka. Ben Jones won the event with more Dakka. Manny came second with more Dakka. Brian Sepp came third with more Dakka. Many of the undefeated players that we were watching through the weekend were playing more Dakka.
Yeah, solid showing.
And then after certain people did so well with the list, well, many top players did well with the list, it then started getting banned from events. That feels like an unusual precedent for tournament organisers to ban lists from events. And I don't think that has happened in recent 40k memory. And I can stand to be corrected.
Not off the top of my head.
That's interesting, isn't it?
It did amuse me that people would go to an event and, you know, do really well with it and then go, nah, it's too good. I don't like the idea of just banning stuff anyway. I think it's...
You're a libertarian, Luke, that's why.
Yeah, it's just... And also, you know, people in the chat, Rob's calling me out for... I'm crazy for thinking it's not as bad as it was, but I just don't think that's the answer. And over time,
You're a 40k libertarian.
Adapt. Just get, you know.
Luke, you can't adapt from that. That's like a nuclear bomb going off in a city, and Luke being like, "Just take shelter." I mean, look, at the end of the day, people can survive. Cockroaches survive.
Yep.
Why can't you? It's just more Dakka. You're also an orc player, which basically makes your opinion.
Is my bias showing? Sorry.
Yeah, it basically makes your opinion null and void. There is a point though in what you're saying, I think, and that is that most people play 40k because it's loads of fun, and they just want to go and roll some dice and have a laugh and enjoy themselves. And I think it's very fair to say that most people that go to events such as UKTC or Grasshammer, what other events that exist in the country, that most people go for fun. Most people just go to roll some dice and have a laugh. And there were a bunch of people, weren't there, Luke, at UKTC, who were playing more Dakka, who, you know, it wasn't necessarily a list that they'd put together just to, you know, win that event and go smash a bunch of people. They were just like, you know, I've got orcs, I've put my list together, and I want a bit of fun. I want to have a laugh. I just want to roll some dice. I'm not here to cream everybody and come first. I'll ride the bus. In fact, Jack was Jack saying this?
Yeah, Jack. Jack took more Dakka, and I don't think it was his play style. He didn't really, you know, he loves the Bully Boys detachment, and that's what he enjoys playing.
That's his detachment. He's based
he just didn't. And I think it's kind of to the point of the general mood of everyone stopped playing it. It's just people weren't really that enthusiastic about it because it was so good that it just became unfun and uninteractive.
Yeah.
And to elaborate on what I'm saying about the whole adapt thing, because the chat is loving this. And
what, loving your completely wrong opinion?
Absolutely. Which I knew they would. I mean, there's no point arguing with the internet.
There is every point arguing with the internet. This is all it's about. Yeah. It's all we have in life.
That's it. It's just that so soon to start banning stuff, I just think is absolutely mad, regardless of how absolutely. Just give a bit more time.
But what do you think is going to happen, Luke? The win rate was like 70-odd%, wasn't it?
What doesn't? No, it was 67. So.
Oh, was it just 67?
Yeah,
okay,
so just 6 out of 10 games. But I just think it's mad that there's all this outcry for something like that. Yet, meanwhile, Ynnari exists at its current state, which is really toxic.
You just feel sore because you lost to Ynnari at the club, Luke. So
no, it's a really toxic set of rules and non-interaction. It's just awful. So like, people don't like the more Dakka stuff, right? Because it's not fun.
It's free uninteractive when all your models are dead, Luke.
Right.
Luke, you're moaning about Eldar moving, but you play more Dakka, you don't have any models turned to. Can you get any more uninteractive of someone going?
It's a different type of interactive, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. You're picking. Okay. Here's what's different. In the more Dakka uninteractive, you're picking your models up and putting them off the table. In the Eldar interactive, you're not scoring on scenario.
In the Eldar
at least you've still got your models.
You're not allowed to engage in the game in a different way. But what the armies do is they prevent you from interacting. That's what they do in very different ways. Granted, more Dakka is taking a shovel and beating you over the head with it. Ynnari is just not letting you hit them with the shovel ever. That's the difference.
Listen, right? This is my overwhelming thought and feeling with all this Games Workshop more Dakka stuff. Right? When I said to Telly, must have been like a year and a half ago now, whatever, I'm going to start doing some 40k stuff. You know what I mean, I'm going to like some 40k content, getting to 40k. Telly said to me, competitive 40k is a psyop. It's not real. It's fake. It's not real. It's a psyop. It's a Games Workshop psyop to make you think that it's a serious game, right? It's not serious. None of it's real, Luke. I think Telly's right. It's a psyop. The fact that we're even having a discussion about basically what's happened is we're having an actual discussion as to whether something that is so completely ridiculous, so unfair, so unbalanced, is fair. Of course it's unfair. It's borderline absurd, which is why they've had to change it. But you were also absolutely right. Do you know what else is completely absurd? Eldar. Ynnari. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, the reason it's a psyop is you were perpetually distracted by something so stupid that you don't realise that the whole thing's bollocks and doesn't make any fucking sense. That's basically what a psyop is. You think this is going on? Well, actually, this is going on. And the more Dakka thing, oh my God, thank God they've sorted out more Dakka. I'm so glad. Oh my God, what a relief. Well, guess what, folks? Next event, there'll be something else that's going to shit all over everyone. And it'll be back in the same situation because...
You should see the Orc Facebook group right now. It's devouring its...
That's one thing I never want to see. I'd never want to see.
Yeah. It's an interesting point, though. It's
never want to go there.
Distracting the masses from the wider problem.
Mate, it's absolute nonsense, right? Think about how many UKTC events we've done. And every single one of those events, sorry for clicking my pen, by the way, I imagine that's really annoying noise. every UKTC event we've ever done, we've been able to say with a high degree of certainty which faction are going to win. And whenever we've had off-camera discussions with the players, which we've done every event, and we've got to know some lovely lads who are very good at the game, all top gents, pretty much, and they say to us, "Oh yeah, this is completely ridiculous. Like this is what I'm playing is." So when I was speaking to Nas, who was absolutely smashing people with Imperial Guard with a jetpack, he was like, "Mate, this is completely insane. Like the fact that this is even a list is completely bonkers." Ben said exactly the same thing at last UKTC.
Yep.
He sort of with a wry smile said, "I feel bad playing it." I might have said, "I almost feel bad playing it," but like he was being light-hearted about that kind of comment because everyone, you know, he knew that to win that event he kind of had to play it, and I think he felt bad about that being the case rather than genuine sorrow as he completely devastated people.
Yeah, completely.
But you can't. That's the psyop element of it. It's like at no point in recent history has that game ever been in a state of equilibrium. It's always in a state of complete chaos and madness because they endlessly release models. The bit that interests me about this bit in particular is I can't help but wonder whether the player outrage was the reason why Games Workshop have done this so quickly, because over this edition there have been lots of things that have been ridiculous for a long time. You know, there's it's not just been like, although having said that, basically what seems to happen is there's a UKTC event. Whoever wins that list gets changed. I think that's probably happened for the last 4 UKTC events, going back to GSC. So Ben won with GSC.
I remember the GSC one.
Big GSC changes straight after that. Imperial Guard one.
Everything back.
Big changes straight after that when he beat Nathan Roberts. More Daka. You know, we've seen this consistently happen. Top players decimate people at events. Games Workshop then have to react in the latest update, or in this case, as a knee-jerk reaction. Interesting. Well, I think it's interesting anyway, but I also think it's a complete psyop. Can I move on to my next agenda item, Luke?
Yeah, absolutely.
You weren't even on that piece of paper, but I've always got to do that. So Age of Sigmar is an interesting one, isn't it? Because...
What's that?
Age of Sigmar is a game that a guy called Liam Jordan, who I used to think was a friend of mine.
I've not heard of this game.
I love Liam. He got me to play Age of Sigmar a while ago. I've told this story before. In lockdown, Liam messaged and says, "We're all going to play Age of Sigmar. You should get Age of Sigmar." So I spent a small fortune on Age of Sigmar Army. And then played it a bunch of times. And then realised it was something else you can't take seriously. A game where your opponent can go twice. But the models have always been amazing, I think, for Age of Sigmar. The models have always been great. But I feel like it's just never really landed on its feet after the sort of... It's never quite been able to replace the hype that was Fantasy. And then, obviously, Old World has come out. So there's a lot of people been chatting about how the Cathay, Grand Cathay armies... Maybe you could get them up, Luke, and we could have a look at some of the Cathay bits. So these are kind of come out. And what seems to happen with Old World is whatever is announced or whatever is released, there's a huge demand for. And, you know, they sell out very quickly. You know, they almost can't get it off the shelves quick enough. Whereas Sigmar... I don't know, it's doing so well, Luke. And there's a lot of people saying that the Old World is sort of like becoming the bigger of the two game systems with more players and a bit more going on, whereas Sigmar's sort of on its arse a little bit. Because if you think back some time ago, we watched the video of all those players saying how good Age of Sigmar's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, Old World is for the discerning gamer. And
it's for what? The concert?
The discerning wargamer. And I think Age of Sigmar, who's that even for?
Is it for people that can't understand 40k?
I don't know. I think
it's for people that like nice models. That's a good model, that. Look at that.
A little blimp. Hey there, blimpy boy.
Look at that. That was nice. That was a lovely little... That was a nice little day for you, Luke. Does it go back to the blimp thing? Up again.
He's happy, isn't he? Look, living his best life in the
He's
blimp.
absolutely off his head on hallucinogenics. Go up.
They both are then. Right.
That's because it's helium. It's nitrous. They're just smashing nitrous oxide. I know that's not helium before anybody.
Actually,
I think you'll find that helium or nitrous oxide wouldn't allow a balloon to go. Yeah, I know.
Right,
Look at it. Go back down to the blimp though. I've always thought. So I've played a lot of Warhammer Total War. I always found those things a bit weird. Like, how does it not just get shot?
Oh, one flaming arrow, and that's gone.
Yeah, or just like a bird.
Shoot that poison.
A low-flying bird. So, Cathay have been really well received. Lots of people very excited about these coming out. And if I was Games Workshop, I'd be thinking about how could I position... Go on, hit it, Luke. Hit it! How could I position Old World ahead of Age of Sigmar?
Just look at how bloody lovely these models are. I'm not going to collect this army, but it's very difficult to not collect this army.
Yeah, they look great, don't they? Pretty cool, hey guys?
Stunning.
What is that?
Well. That's the Jade statue.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, good stuff.
I like that a lot, mate. I think they look excellent. Do you feel like there's Age of Sigmar pickup? When it came out, there's a lot of lads that were sort of talking about it and getting excited. But
I've never honestly.
I don't really know many people that play it.
I've never got it. Obviously, it burnt me because it was the game that replaced Square based, and fantasy Warhammer Fantasy Battles, and so I've kind of always
look at that model. That's ace. That is a cracking model.
A bit jaded. Hey, pardon the pun. And I just aggressively ignored it. So I'm kind of the wrong person to ask. But equally, I can't think off the top of my head anyone that plays it. I'm sure there are people.
There's a few. Brandon was on. I think Tim has got some bits.
See, Brandon. I've joked about this
bits.
with Brandon before, and he's got the curse of owning a 3D printer, and that is
Brandon plays everything.
Yeah. As soon as you go down that slippery slope of I can print what I want, then you'll be printing.
Yeah, you play every game going, don't you? Yeah. I'd love it. I'd love it if Old World overtook Age of Sigmar in terms of a priority for Games Workshop, but I know that's not going to happen. And I think it's just my sort of like one of the things that always keeps me coming back to Games Workshop is the nostalgia of it. Like, even if I'm just playing a game of 40k and I'm sat there thinking this is dumb, I'm still playing 40k and I associate that with like good times. Do you know what I mean? And safe, comforting times. And whereas Age of Sigmar I associate with Liam Jordan making me spend a small fortune on buying a bunch of Chaos Knights or whatever they were.
Yep.
And then going to a tournament with him and getting absolutely decimated for like 5 games and then selling them all. So it doesn't have that same nostalgia with me. In fact, it's probably scarred me as a game system. But I can't help but feel that if you're gonna, for Games Workshop, the bit that I always really liked is, do you like rank and file? Then you've got fantasy.
Yep.
Do you like skirmishy games with terrain? You've got 40k. So I've like, do you like skirmishy games? We've got this rule set here, 40k. Then we've got this one, Age of Sigmar.
Yep.
And then we got Old World. I just think they could position all those games a bit better. But me and Telly were kind of chatting the other day about we had a bit of a. What we do, me and Telly, is we get through the day basically. We get through the day, Luke, and then it gets to about 9 o'clock when I get Georgia up to bed. So waddle Georgia up to bed, not because she's overweight, because she's pregnant. She's actually not, I mean, she's big now, but she's big because she's got 2 big boys in her. Twins. God, that sounded bad.
You're making it worse, Paul.
I'm digging a hole. So we get her up to bed, and then we play World of Warships, Legends, and we sit and we break it down, and we have a good old chat about life while getting shot by people from all around the world on an online shooting game, warship game. And we're chatting the other day during one of our sailing adventures about like nostalgic Games Workshop games that deserved more attention when you compare the rule sets to things like Age of Sigmar. So I think Age of Sigmar is a bit of a donkey rule set. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
The double turn thing, I know they've changed double turn. Yeah, I get it. They've changed double turn, but it's still a bit of a donkey rule set. Yeah, you've got like Necromunda. Great rule set. Banging rule set.
Modern Necromunda, a great rule set.
Blood Bowl.
Are you saying? modern Necromunda a great rule set, or are you thinking the
Totally
old one?
swears by modern
Okay,
Necromunda.
amazing. I've never played the new one.
But then he does make absolutely ridiculously overpowered Goliath gangs and beats everybody at his club. So if I played it against him, I'd probably think Necromunda's the most broken thing in the world. We were chatting about Battlefleet Gothic the other day. Do you remember Battlefleet Gothic?
Never played it, but
What a game, Luke, that was.
was it actually good?
Oh, what a game. I sounded like Harvey Price then. Oh, what a day. It's awesome. Honestly, it was a great game. Battlefleet but maybe it's just a nostalgia talking. If I played it now, I'd probably be like, this is stupid, it's so broken, whoever goes first wins, this is crap. But Age of Sigmar just doesn't do it for me. And I think that there is such a large proportion of people that fell in love with Games Workshop through Warhammer Fantasy that now they're seeing it, you know, now the bit that's been interesting, if you to compare Age of Sigmar versus Old World, the bit that's interesting is this has turned people's heads. Because if you were to disregard this up until now and looked at Old World, you would have gone, well, they're like just bringing out old sculpts and like there's a few new bits that they're doing, but it's basically the old sculpts and nothing much is changing. It's kind of like, we know what's round the corner, we know what the wood elves are going to look like, blah 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 blah. But then they do this, and you go, whoa, hang on. These are all new models. Like these are all like brand new sculpts. Like, are they going to release Kislev? Is Kislev going to be an army? Like, where does this end? Because many of us have played the Total War series and all the Total War factions, which are absolutely awesome game, absolutely incredible game, so good, so much fun. And if they're going to put the same level of attention to this, they're going to go back and improve some other factions. They're going to launch some new. Are we going to get like a Norse faction? Like, where does it stop? Could they keep going? So I think the Old World versus Age of Sigmar thing has kind of kicked off because this is exciting. Some of these sculpts and some of these models are great. And then couple that in with a rule system, which we've talked about a bunch on the channel over the past year, had various people on. They are giving it focus and they are giving it attention, and there's something to be said about at some point there'll be an internal discussion at Games Workshop around where do we bump Old World up a little bit? Can we muscle it? But there's two studios and they probably fall out of each other, and Age of Sigmar sits on one studio and Old World sits on the other studio, so there's probably some internal politics knocking around as well.
Quite possibly. Chat's very much of the same sort of opinion, it seems. Like, did a little poll in the chat. Do you even play Age of Sigmar? 85% no. There's a lot of feeling around what I suggested earlier, like the distaste left from binning off Warhammer Fantasy Battles has left a lot of people disenfranchised with it, not interested. It's
a bit of a crap world. I'm not sure the law's that good.
Well, Matty Dow,
it's a bit weak, isn't it?
Matty DWO DWOW in the chat just said the iOS game system just looks boring, and I find myself thinking the same thing, but I don't like to just kind of crap on stuff that I'm not actually playing.
No, I think that's what life's about now, Luke. I'm a changed man the past few rounds, just slag off everything.
It does just look a bit boring. Probably Coco. There's lore in games? Yeah.
Oh, well, good luck, Age of Sigmar. All the best. Old World, I hope you continue to to smash it. The other thing that we're going to chat about on the show was Warmachine. Warmachine. So, we've done a bunch of videos. Yeah, get it. We'll go through the Adepticon stuff.
I haven't told you, Paul.
What?
Just to derail your thought train, but my Chimera stuff arrived.
Hey,
I've gone in with both feet. I got the core box and the auxiliary expansion and another little box set.
Nice, good lad.
All built.
You built them already?
Yeah.
Right, let's get a game in, kid.
Yeah.
Let's get a game in, mate.
Have you seen the new paints from, I think it's the Army
P3?
Painter? No, do you know John Blanche, the...
Big Johnny B?
Big Johnny B.
Blancho?
Blancho.
No, never heard of him.
He's done some paint. I'll get it up on the
get it up, lad. Bring it up on the screen. I like a detail. Where are you taking me? Careful. Careful. What's he searching? Are you sharing the screen?
Hold on, let me just...
hang on, Luke. Stop. Are you sharing the browser?
No.
Then I don't care what you're doing. Right, fine, go ahead. No, I don't know who John Blanche is, Luke, and I know who Army Painter is, though.
You don't know who John Blanche is?
Well, can I guess who John Blanche is?
Go for it.
Was he a American spy from the 1950s who helped infiltrate.
Bloody sounds like it.
No. Jean Blanc. No, I don't know who he is.
Right, let's go for it.
Why should I care about Jean Blanc?
He
Jean Blanche.
defined a genre of.
Did he?
Yeah. If you think, if I say to you grim dark aesthetic, the grim dark aesthetic in Warhammer.
Yeah,
40K.
that's like, what is this a test? So grim dark is sort of like a term to describe a universe. There's a lot of books I like that are grim dark, like Joe Abercrombie. It's like dark fantasy, right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's right enough.
It's not right, is it?
No, it is right. So I've just got it on the screen now. So this is the masterclass set on Army Painter.
Are you? Wait, hang on. Are you on? Is this a, is this a
I'm not
sponsored thing?
Don't buy it if you don't want to buy it. But basically,
Luke gets £4 for everyone that you buy.
Inspired by the grimdark palette and Blanchitsu stylings of John Blanche.
I'm sorry, Luke, but these are just dark paints.
Yeah, that's exactly what they are.
Wow. So this guy. Wait. So this guy's basically just brought out a set of dark paints.
No, he's collaborated with the Army Painter. I've bought this set, so it's amazing. Don't make it sound like
I'm struggling to understand what the attraction is. It's just dark. It's dark.
It is just dark paints. It is just dark paints. It's just.
Well,
it's
I can
a massive...
Wait, hang on. This isn't new, Luke. Oh my God, there's a giveaway. Quick enter, Luke. You could win even more dark paints.
Basically, the only reason I mention it is I'm going to be using these paints to paint my
All right,
my
sorry.
Chimera.
Wait, go back, go right, go right. No, left, go left. Stop. Brand new colours. wait, leave it on this. Brand new colours, guys. Never seen these before. What are they? Black, white, yellow, grey, green, brown, red, gold. And then we've basically got fucking, what's that paint that everybody bought? The black wash that Games Workshop had. Oh, come on.
Agrax Earthshade.
No, the other one that
Devil and
everyone
Mud.
used to joke. Yes, Devil and Mud. So basically they've got Devil and Mud, black, white, yellow. That's not great. Mate, right. I'm pretty colourblind, but the brown, the green, the grey and the darkness are all exactly the same colour out there.
Scream dark. Shut up.
Wait. Go back to the green. Okay, wait.
It's all there. Look. It's got his signature on it.
But the green's not green.
It's blighted.
Right, get back on Warmachine because
It's
you're trying to sell me paints that are the wrong.
Blighted green, and I've been reading Warmachine fluff. There's stuff to do with blight in Warmachine. There was a guy, the dragons blight things.
I'm not the one to ask about law, but it sounds right. There's some models with the word blighting, so it sounds good.
So this is on point.
Right, so get your dark paints out there. You want a grey, a green, and a brown that are all the same colour? Get them bought. Warmachine. How can I best put this?
Oh, that's a horrible noise on the mic.
Is it?
Yeah, don't do that again.
I'm really sorry, everybody, for that noise that we just made with the microphone. Warmachine is a game that I've talked about on the channel a lot because it has an insane amount of potential. And I know a lot of people don't believe this, but there was a time many years ago where Warmachine, particularly in the US, was really popping off and was a legit. There was a moment where it was a legit threat to GW and other game systems. Not so much here in the UK, but if you were to look at like general sales around the world and growth and impact and pickup, Warmachine was up there. And then we all know the story. It went wrong, blah blah blah, COVID, blah blah blah. Steamforge.
Are they really that strong?
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, it was in a really punchy position. He was doing good. Like I said, more so in the US. But what you have to understand about the UK wargaming is that we're like the home ground of, Games Workshop of, most of us grew up in a town or a city that had a Games Workshop, which is mad. That's you know what I mean? It's like you'd have a W.H. Smith, Boots, Woolworths, and a Games Workshop. Basically, in every town or city, that's what our country is built upon.
TGI Fridays.
TGI Fridays, on the outskirts somewhere, in a retail park.
Argos. I'm just naming retailers now. I'll stop. Sorry.
But this is the backbone of our culture. And there was always a Games Workshop, and there was GW had such a strong foothold in the UK that I think have sort of been a bit blinded to the fact that there are loads of other game systems out there, and tabletop gaming and miniature wargaming is this huge thing. And in the US, it's taken a number of years for GW to footprint over there. And there was a time gone by, not that long ago, where companies like Privateer Press, based in Seattle, could get really strong footholds by getting great supply across their shops and offering something different, and offering something where, because the problem that people have had in the UK competing with Games Workshop is, if there's a Games Workshop in every town and city, how do you ever infiltrate that market? Particularly when there was like no internet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you ever get in there? Like, you've no chance. They've got a complete monopoly. Whereas in the US, because they had the hobby store, all you had to do is just get stock on a shelf, and then it would sit next to Games Workshop, and people could go, oh, I know there's Games Workshop, but there's also this.
Yep.
So like that whole scene in the US was not as GW focused, which is why when I say that, on often reactions, people like that, really? But yeah, in the UK, not so much. It still had a huge player base, but it wasn't threatening Games Workshop. Anyway, I digress. Steamforged buying it is really interesting. The crunch bit, we're going to go through some of the Adepticon stuff, but the crunch bit now for Steamforged is, can you deliver? It's a real, I feel like the next sort of like 3 months are so important for Steamforged, because I speak to a lot of people that play Warmachine. I speak to a lot of people that are interested in Warmachine, and they're at that like absolute crunch moment now, where they've built the hype. You've done the first bit, you've built the hype.
Now what?
Now you've got to deliver. And they must sort out supply. They've got to sort out supply really quick, because the hype is high. People are interested, but if you can't get those models in your hobby shop soon, it's going to be very challenging. It's going to be a very challenging market to infiltrate, because I think the biggest issue that Steamforged are going to have to navigate is the UK is an incredibly competitive wargaming environment. There is no longer a couple of games to pick from. No. And because Games Workshop are in every town, every city, and because Games Workshop will get your models the next day, if not that day, if you walk to your local hobby shop, people want to get their hands on the models. You've got to capitalise on that excitement. And I think that every year that passes, gamers are becoming more set in what their game is, and they're becoming more, they're not, things are getting more expensive. Chickens are £20, which I've mentioned a lot on the show, but chickens are 20 quid. And when a chicken is 20 quid, you don't have all this disposable income to play every game and jump around and play every system. No. So you have to recognise that the challenging financial climate that we're in and the ridiculous amount of competition that exists, they've got to deliver. I should have just said they've got to deliver. I've over-explained, they've got to deliver. But Adepticon 2025, there was some interesting announcements, which we're going to scroll through, Luke, and break them down. Break it down.
So it's there. It is on the screen. Adepticon.
Just scroll down there. I want to see some pictures.
There's the back of a man's head.
Hey, up, it's John Blanche. Warmachine is back. Give me some, hit me.
What have we got?
Keep going down. Tell you when to stop. So there's people playing Warmachine, very good. People won some stuff, very good. Well done, everybody. We don't watch the keynote. There was some good announcements around some of the upcoming factions. One thing that Warmachine have done good for a while is they create some killer models. The models look pretty cool and funky. The bit that I'm interested in, Luke, if you can find it, is the Press Ganger program. That's what I want to chat about.
I'll just leave it on this bad boy.
Leave it on that, and I'll talk. That is a mental model, isn't it? That is a mental model. You can get that model for free if you pay.
Hey?
No, you subscribe, and that's like they're the models that you get for subscribing. You know, like GW did it.
Yes.
It's a great idea, and it looks very cool. I'm a huge fan of rules being free.
Oh yeah,
and accessible on an app. I've always been talking about that. So the bit that's very interesting for Steamforged, one, they need to sort supply out. The other thing they have announced, which is interesting, which I think other game systems should take note of, is the press gang. So the whole concept with the press gang was that it would encourage people to organise and play the game. So GW being in every town, every city and every club means that if you want to go play some Games Workshop games, you just rock up to a local Well, there you find it. Luke's finding the history of the.
Try and find it, but I thought
Press yeah, if you go on the page, they should be just on the Warmachine page, but they're basically bringing back the press ganger system, which will incentivize people to get people playing in the local area, get games on the go, which is cool, and I like the idea. That was something that completely devastated and wrecked Warmachine before, so I like that. They just got to get some nice incentives for people to actually do that. Maybe just is it not on the Adepticon?
I couldn't see it on there.
Scroll up, control find press gang on that page and see if you can get it to come up. Again, this is another thing that like Games Workshop just never had to think about, did they really?
No, it's not there.
Either way, they're bringing it back, and I think that's a good. Well, hello, are you showing that page? Either way, they're bringing it back, and I think that is a good thing. But as much as I'm a big fan of Warmachine, and I've sort of championed the game system and Steamforged, now I genuinely think it's crunch time. Got to deliver. Got to get it in shops. I'd be wanting to see Warmachine in local gaming stores pretty soon to capitalise on the hype, because I don't know what you think. Because I mean, you've bought in on it, Luke. And you've got a load of models rocked up.
Yeah.
But what we want to see in this community down here is people being able to get their hands on it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it you sound like a broken record, don't you?
Yeah.
Play this thing. People are like, okay, I'll play this thing. Where do I get this thing? Well, you can order it, but it might take a while. Just get it in a shop. Get it in a shop.
Mine was over a month getting, but there was also I had a problem with FedEx. I don't like Steamforged weren't exactly fast, but FedEx. I don't know what FedEx.
Well, it's because the models are coming from the state. I mean, this is the problem. If you cannot grow a game in the UK. Well, it's super simple for me. You can't grow a game in the UK if you're importing models from the United States.
No,
it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. It's a short term. Gamers have patience if they fit, if they combine to the brand, but it can only go so far. Do you know what I mean? And you couldn't. People that play tabletop games, like, we're all a bit spectrumy, aren't we? Like when we see something and we get excited by something, we want it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So we can get it in our hands and we can start assembling it and start playing with it and rolling dice. 100%. Not always the most patient crowd, and it's a very reactionary crowd, isn't it? Like, we see a thing, we buy a thing.
Yeah.
We get excited by a thing, we buy it. Like the amount of we have lots of projects that never get started, or models that never get built. But to capitalise on that kind of impulsivity that exists in the community, if someone thinks the model's not going to turn up for a couple of weeks or even longer, couple of months, it's difficult. It's difficult to capitalise on that excitement. But I'm sure. Basically, the only way for this to succeed is for them to resolve that issue and get it in shops. So for me, it's either like they're going to do that and it's going to be great, or they're not going to do that and it's not going to work. It feels very.
Do you think that's where that STL subscription thing's coming from?
What's STL?
So there's STL. So there's the thing that you can pay to get STLs, which are the files for 3D printing.
Oh, okay.
So you can basically get an amount of stuff if you pay for the.
What, the Steamforged have talked about?
Yeah.
What, and bringing that into Warmachine?
Yeah, I was just wondering if do you think that might
okay.
be
So they talked about this. I didn't realise they talked about that for Adepticon. So
I'm not sure if it was at Adepticon. I've just seen something come out. I'll try and hunt it down.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. I don't want to be wrong.
Like Brandon shared it in the Discord.
You can always fact check me. I think that this was another thing we were going to talk about and put as a news item, that 3D printing. I mean, 3D printing is obviously the future, isn't it? Because like anything, 3D printing is just going to keep getting better and better and better and better, to the point by which you can get insanely high quality sculpts very quickly through either someone or through your own printing. But that has the potential, doesn't it, to just absolutely decimate. Oh my God, I feel like I'm just breaking this sofa. That has the potential to absolutely decimate the entire tabletop miniatures market. So I don't know how Games Workshop are going to navigate it, but I feel like all the other companies aside from GW, it is in it's in their favour to implement systems by which people buy the files and then print them at home, because the only group that are not going to profit from that is GW, isn't it? Because GW have put millions and millions and millions into a supply chain by which people are invested. You know, they've just built another factory out there.
Yeah.
Because they were so slow. So they've had to build another factory. So this sort of initiative...
This is what Brandon... I think it was Brandon. Somebody shared it in the Discord.
Let's read this out, Luke. Break this down, because I didn't realise this. They talked about this before for Guild Ball.
April the 7th, so fairly new.
That's almost that's a day ago. Wait, what's the date? 2 days ago.
So Rob's saying in the chat, when you do the year sub, you get the Cadre STLs, which is the STL, if I didn't say earlier, that's the file in order to print it.
I wonder if this is slightly jumping the gun from Steamforged.
I don't know.
Slightly. Do you know what I mean?
It's a thing.
Read it out, Luke. Read the article.
So Warmachine Digital just put their money where their mouth is and is dropping over 130 STL files, including full armies terrain for free. Warmachine just kicked the gate wide open on how miniatures wargaming works, and it's honestly kind of a big deal. Prototype Press has launched Warmachine Digital on My Mini Factory, which is where you can
get the files.
And it's not just a few token sculpts. They're going full send on STL files, terrain, conversion bits, the whole thing. If you've been watching the tabletop hobby scene evolve, this feels like a turning point. For years, hobbyists have been chasing these files like treasure maps, scraping together the bits you would need. Now, a major wargame is doing it as the plan. Every month, with structure, with lore, with full playable armies. It's not just cool, it's progress.
Well, it's part of a subscription.
Yeah.
It's not just cool, it's progress.
Yeah.
Progress. Keep going. I want the details. This is really interesting. So basically, you subscribe, and then you get the STLs that you can then print, yeah?
Yeah. A full 30-point hive mind cadre ready to go out of the gate, supported by a digital app. Adding variant warcasters, a full ecosystem.
This is good. This is great if you've got a good printer.
Well, this is the thing. Like,
what percentage? This is why I feel like I said the jump in the gun comment, because I for sure know loads of people that have got printers.
Army tier gives you full playable forces. Sorry, you were saying people that got printers.
No, I'm just sort of reflecting on it. Really, I think that it feels a little bit jumping the gun.
What do you mean though by jumping the gun?
Well, I ain't got a printer, and I ain't buying one, and you ain't got a printer, have you?
No.
You ain't gonna buy one.
No,
like they're really expensive.
Yeah.
It's like it's. I'm trying to. The only comparison I've got is probably inappropriate. Like, it doesn't feel that feels good for a small number of people that are really into printing, and it feels good in a sense that is that's future proofing an idea and a concept, right? So the future of miniature wargaming is going to revolve around a printer. So I think in the future you will either have businesses, shops. This might even be something that's amalgamated into the miniature wargaming type shop. The what's it called? The hobby. God, why can't I think of the word? The shop where you buy your plastic crack.
Games Workshop.
Not Games Workshop. The ones that are at Games Workshop.
Oh, independent retailer.
Still not the right word, but you know what I mean. Basically, you're independent retailers, right? I can see a world where they've got a printer in store, a good one, down the line, not now, future tech, and you go and you buy the STL file, you take it in, and they charge you, a couple of quid to print it for you, or you buy the code from them and they print it straight away. I can see that being the case when the printers are good enough for shops to buy them and do all the printing, and maybe your mate's got one or whatever else. But at the moment, that's only interesting to people who are like really into printing. But it's a sensible move from Steamforged, right? Because it's future-proofing an idea, and it's probably soft testing an idea. Let's see how this works. If we give people the files, will people print them out? But you'd want a good printer, wouldn't you? Because that'd do your, with these STL files, can you just print them once?
No.
You print as much as you want.
As much as you want.
Oh, right,
and you could do them for other people. So
if you do a crap job, you can just print it again until it's right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. The only sort of margin for error is your own learning with the printer, and I'm sure the printers will tell you. In fact, Mr. Hatch is saying I'm figuring out an older printer, Saturn 3 Ultra. The quality is really good. Seeing prices for models now just makes me sick. Newer printers are focused on making it less prone to failure and more convenient. So
okay. And how much are they then? What's the chat? What's the price of a print? Like, if I wanted to capitalize on this thing from Steamforge and I wanted to buy a printer, how much is a printer that I'm getting? I reckon it's like 500, 600 quid.
You could,
for a good one.
Yeah.
I don't want like
you could
like
spend
it's
double
a
that.
fucking Kinder Egg toy. Do you know what I mean?
You could spend double that on prints. So the sky is the limit, really. Mr. Hatch says $200.
What for a good one? Is it $200?
Yep, and he spent about 2 kilograms of resin. I'm guessing that's what he's referring to. About $60 worth of resin in figuring it out.
Man, that's way cheaper than I thought.
Brandon paid $250 GBP.
I've given Brandon that much just in models.
Printed about 800 worth of models.
Is that all? So 250 quid for the printer, and then how much for the resin? 60 quid for what was it? 300.
So Mr. Hatch was saying he spent $200 on his printer, and he's burnt through $60 in resin in learning how to use it properly.
Is that Colton? Good lad.
Yeah, I'm guessing it is actually.
Colton.
Yeah, Mr. Hatch.
Well, fair play. Fair play. I think that's the future, innit? I don't know how Games Workshop are going to navigate it though, because they're the ones that are going to get shit on with that. If everyone's got a printer and you can just get like STL files and print them. One of the other subjects we'll talk about, maybe we'll move it to next week, is the rapidly improving 3D miniature market. So there's some load of stuff that I found about like fake Terminators and stuff, and like how good the prints are getting. And like, if you're Games Workshop, they're not sat there thinking, they're obviously bothered about that.
I've seen TikToks where people take a 2-dimensional picture of Super Mario, make it into a 3-dimensional picture, and then 3D print Mario based off of what was originally a 2-dimensional sculpt. And you use generative AI to basically convert that into a 3-dimensional image, and then convert that 3-dimensional image into the STL that you would need to print, because it's just all ones and zeros and getting from that point to that point. Obviously, if you were doing it yourself, it would take you ages, but you just press the buttons. I think that, maybe we'll bring this to next week, actually, because I want to talk about that more. I think that Games Workshop, that's why Games Workshop are becoming a IP company rather than a tabletop miniatures company. I think in 10 years... You can't stop it. Yeah, we'll look back, and in 10 years, Games Workshop will be a curator of IP that exists across multiple facets. Like, there'll be continued game licensing, there'll be movies, there'll be TV series, dramas, there'll be board games, there'll be a Monopoly. I know a lot of that stuff exists already, but it'll basically be an IP. They'll just sell the IP to brands that want to create a product. And that means they don't give a shit about, fine, print your models, whatever. You want to get it today in perfect quality, walk into your Games Workshop. Want to put it together and assemble it, there you go, walk into your Games Workshop. But I think the majority of their income will come from IP sale and distribution rather than, oh my God, 3D printing's arriving. Because strategically, how do you best navigate that? Well, you just let it happen. You just go, yeah, fine, you do the thing. We're going in this direction because we've got the IP. You guys can print whatever you want. We're going to sell more stuff to Amazon. Third agenda item. Done. Nailed it.
Thanks so much for watching the show, folks. We're going to keep building on this every week. So we've done this very unannounced. Luke and I have been chatting about it for a long time and thinking about it for a long time as to what we're going to do, where we're at, where we're going. But we're going to be doing this every week. We're going to be doing news shows. We're going to be talking about stuff that's going on. We are going to build in a membership-only offer that will way more engagement for members, so you guys will be part of that, but we're not going to get ahead of ourselves and start shouting about it just yet. We're going to slowly build it into what we're doing, but we'll be back next Wednesday with more discussions on tabletop news and gaming. And I appreciate you getting involved and watching, whether it's been live or after. Luke, thanks for doing the Guinness World Record for the shortest ever stream prior to this one, alongside the longest ever stream several weeks before at UKTC Southampton. Appreciate it, mate. Thanks for watching, folks. See you next time.
Ta-ta.
Speak to you on the Discord.